Okay, so I've been lurking on here for a while, reading everyone's stories about their marriages falling apart. And I finally decided to share mine. It's been a roller coaster, and honestly, putting it into words is therapeutic, even if it's just for strangers on the internet. This all happened over the last couple of years, right here in the Midwest us, where life moves at that steady, predictable pace until it doesn't. I'm writing this from the perspective of the wife. Because that's me. And yeah, we're divorced now. But let's start from the beginning, before everything went to hell. We'd been married for about 12 years when the cracks started showing, but to understand that, you have to know how solid things felt at first. We met in our mid-20s through mutual friends at a backyard barbecue. The kind where everyone's grilling burgers and playing cornhole. He was this charming guy with a steady job in middle management at a logistics company, and I was working as a graphic designer for a small marketing firm. We clicked over shared laughs about bad 90s movies and a mutual love for hiking on weekends. Dating was easy. We moved in together after a year, got engaged on a whim during a road trip, and tied the knot in a simple courthouse ceremony because neither of us wanted the big wedding drama. Early marriage was all about building that life together. We bought a modest 3-bedroom house in a suburban neighborhood, the type with cul-de-sacs and kids riding bikes after school. I quit my full-time job after our first kid came along, a boy full of energy and curiosity. Because daycare costs were insane, and we figured we could make it work on his salary plus my freelance gigs from home. A couple years later, our daughter arrived. And suddenly, we were this picture-perfect family unit. Mornings were chaotic with breakfast routines. I'd make oatmeal or eggs while he packed lunches. Then he'd drop the kids at school on his way to work. Evenings were family dinners, homework help, and collapsing on the couch to watch whatever was on Netflix. He was a good dad, really involved. He'd coach Little League for our son, even though he wasn't athletic himself, and he'd braid our daughter's hair better than I could. Work-wise, he climbed the ladder slowly but surely. Promotions every few years, bonuses that let us take family vacations to national parks or the beach. I handled the home front. PTA meetings, doctor's appointments, meal planning. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. We had date nights once a month, usually just dinner at a chain restaurant and a movie. Nothing fancy. Sex was regular, comfortable, not fireworks every time, but affectionate. We argued about dumb stuff like whose turn it was to unload the dishwasher or why he always left his socks on the floor. But nothing major. No screaming fights, no silent treatments that lasted days. Around year 10, though, things shifted subtly. His job got more demanding. The company was expanding, and he started traveling for conferences a couple times a quarter. At first, it was exciting. He'd come back with stories about new cities and we'd plan to visit them someday. But then the late nights at the office became routine. Overtime, he'd say, rubbing his eyes. I'd nod, understanding, because bills don't pay themselves. I picked up more freelance work to help out, designing logos and websites for local businesses. The kids were older now, our son in middle school with soccer practice, our daughter obsessed with art classes. Life was busy, but manageable. Then came the small changes I brushed off at first. He'd come home smelling faintly of something floral, like perfume, but he'd say it was from hugging colleagues goodbye after meetings. His phone started buzzing more at odd hours. Texts from work, he claimed. I'd glance over and see him typing quickly, then locking the screen. Once I asked casually, "Everything okay?" And he snapped. "Yeah, just stressed." It stung, because he wasn't usually short-tempered. I told myself it was the pressure. The economy was tough. Layoffs were happening everywhere. But doubt crept in. I'd lie awake after he fell asleep, staring at the ceiling fan spinning lazily. Was he happy? Was I? I started paying more attention to our interactions. Kisses goodbye felt perfunctory, like habit rather than desire. He'd forget little things, like the anniversary of our first date, which we used to celebrate with takeout. I tried initiating more, planning a surprise weekend getaway to a nearby lake. Just us two. Leaving the kids with my parents. He seemed appreciative, but distracted, checking his email every hour. During the drive, he talked mostly about work politics, how his boss was riding everyone hard. Back home, the pattern continued. One evening after the kids were in bed, I suggested we talk about us, maybe see a counselor, just to check in. He laughed it off. We're fine, babe. Everyone goes through phases. But I wasn't convinced. I started journaling my thoughts, little notes on my phone about his moods. The late arrivals. It felt sneaky, but I needed to make sense of it. Friends noticed I was quieter at playdates or coffee meetups. You okay? One asked. I shrugged. Just tired. Inside, though, I was replaying every moment, wondering if I'd missed signs earlier. Then the first real red flag. I was doing laundry and found a receipt in his pants pocket for a dinner at a nice Italian place. 2 entrees, wine, dessert. It was dated for a night. He said he was working late. My heart sank. I confronted him casually over breakfast. Hey, found this. What's up? He paused, fork midway to his mouth, and said, client meeting. Expense account. It sounded plausible. His job involved schmoozing vendors. But why not mention it? I let it go. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Was he cheating? The thought made my stomach churn. I'd read enough Reddit threads to know the signs. Secrecy. Defensiveness. Unexplained expenses. Over the next weeks, I became hyper-aware. His gym bag had a new cologne I didn't recognize. He'd shower immediately upon coming home, saying he felt grimy from the day. Our intimacy dwindled. He'd claim exhaustion. I tried not to nag, but inside, resentment built. Why was I the one holding everything together while he drifted? The kids sensed it too. Our son asked why Dad was always on his phone. I decided to dig deeper. One afternoon while he was at work, I logged into our shared bank app. There were charges I didn't recognize. Hotel stays in nearby towns, cash withdrawals, even a jewelry store purchase. My mind raced. Gifts for someone else? I felt sick. That evening, I waited until the kids were asleep and asked point blank, are you seeing someone? He looked shocked, then angry. What? No, how could you think that? We argued, voices low, but heated. He stormed out to the garage, saying he needed space. After that, things got tense. We'd tiptoe around each other, polite for the kids' sake. I started researching online, how to spot infidelity, what to do next. Forums like this one were full of advice. Gather evidence. Talk to a lawyer quietly. I wasn't ready for that yet, but the seed was planted. Little did I know, this was just the tip of the iceberg. What I thought was an affair was something else entirely, and it would upend everything. All right. Picking up where I left off. After that confrontation, our home felt like a pressure cooker. Mornings were rushed silences over coffee. Evenings were forced family time, where we'd watch TV without really talking. The kids picked up on the vibe. Our son got moody, slamming doors after school, and our daughter clung to more, asking if everything was okay. I'd plaster on a smile and say, of course, sweetie, but inside I was unraveling. I couldn't shake the suspicions. The receipts, the scents, the secrecy. It all pointed to one thing in my mind. I started tracking his patterns more closely. He'd leave for work at 7 a.m. sharp, but sometimes his car would be gone earlier or later without explanation. I downloaded an app to monitor our family plan's phone usage. Not proud of it, but desperation does that. There were calls to an unknown number, late at night, lasting 20-30 minutes. When I asked about his day, he'd be vague. Meetings, the usual. Work for me picked up too. I landed a big contract, redesigning a local nonprofit's website, which meant long hours at my home office desk. It was a distraction, but also a reminder of my independence. I'd always been the creative one, and freelancing let me contribute financially without the 9-5 grind. But now, it felt like survival prep. What if we split? Could I support the kids on my income? I started squirreling away a little emergency fund just in case. One weekend, he said he had a work golf outing, common in his industry for networking. I nodded, but after he left, I drove by the course. His car wasn't there. Panic set in. I called him. He picked up. Background noise like a crowd. Yeah, we're teeing off soon. Liar, I thought. That night, he came home with grass stains on his shoes. But I knew better. I confronted him again. Were you really golfing? He rolled his eyes. Yes. Paranoid much? We slept in separate rooms that night. The doubt consumed me. I confided in my best friend over lunch at a cafe. She's been through her own messy breakup. Sounds classic, she said. Hire a PI if you need proof. I laughed it off, but later I searched online for private investigators in our area. Found one with good reviews, specializing in matrimonial cases. It felt surreal, like something from a TV show. But I scheduled a consultation. The guy was professional, no nonsense. $500 retainer, tailing for a week. I paid with my freelance money, feeling guilty but empowered. The PI started the next Monday. I went about my routine, dropping kids at school, working on designs, picking them up for after-school activities. Our son had soccer games. I'd cheer from the sidelines, waving at other parents, pretending normalcy. But my mind was elsewhere. Evenings, I'd cook dinner, simple stuff like pasta or stir-fry, and we'd eat as a family, him asking about the kids' days while avoiding my gaze. Mid-week, the PI called with updates. He followed my husband to work, then to a coffee shop where he met a woman. My heart dropped. Photos showed them laughing. Her hand on his arm. She looked professional, mid-30s. Stylish. Was this it? The affair? I cried in the bathroom, muffling sobs so the kids wouldn't hear. But, that Friday, another twist. Instead of the woman, my husband drove to a seedy part of town, met a guy in a parking lot. They exchanged something? Cash? Documents? The PI couldn't get close without blowing cover. Doesn't look romantic, he reported. More like business. Business. What kind? My husband wasn't in sales. He handled logistics, shipments, nothing shady. Confusion mixed with anger. If not an affair, what? I dug into our finances deeper. Logged into his work email. I knew the password from years ago. There were messages from unknown contacts about deliveries and cut. Code for something? Then I found bank statements I'd missed. Transfers to offshore accounts, small at first, then larger. Thousands gone. Our retirement fund was dipped into. Panic hit. Was he embezzling? Gambling? Drugs? I confronted him that night after the kids were asleep. What's going on with the money? I showed the statements. He paled, stammered. It's investments. Bad ones. But his eyes darted. We argued until dawn, him admitting he'd borrowed from work to cover personal loans. Personal loans for what? He wouldn't say. The next day, I called a lawyer. A family law specialist recommended by a friend. We met in her office, a bland building downtown. I laid out everything. Suspicions, finances, the PI's findings. Sounds like potential fraud, she said. Protect yourself. File for separation if needed. She explained us divorce laws. No fault in our state, but assets could be contested. We'd split everything 50-50, but if he hid money, it could get ugly. Custody would be joint unless proven unfit. I left feeling numb. Back home, I packed a go bag for me and the kids, just in case. That evening, another bombshell from the PI. The woman was a coworker, but the meetings were about covering up inventory discrepancies at work. The guy in the parking lot, a bookie. My husband was in debt from sports betting, using company resources to pay off. It wasn't an affair. It was addiction and theft. He was stealing from his job to fund losses. The floral scent, probably from stress sweat or something innocent. The late nights, hiding at bars placing bets. I felt relief mixed with fury. How could he risk our family? When he came home, I laid it all out. He broke down, admitted everything, started betting during a slow period at work, got hooked, owed tens of thousands. The investments were lies. He begged for forgiveness, promised rehab, to make it right. Part of me wanted to help. We had history, kids. But trust was shattered. How do you rebuild from that? We slept apart. I told the kids we were having grown-up talks. The lawyer advised freezing accounts. Life became a whirlwind of calls to banks. His boss, anonymously tipping off, and therapy sessions for me. Little did I know this was only the start. The real twist was coming, and it involved his past I never knew. So, here we are in part 3 of this mess. After the big reveal about the gambling and the work theft, our house turned into a war zone of whispers and avoidance. I'd wake up early to avoid him, make breakfast for the kids, and shuttle them to school with forced cheer. Dad's working through some stuff, I'd say when they asked why he was sleeping on the couch. Our son nodded, but I saw the worry in his eyes. Our daughter drew more family pictures, this time with sad faces. I threw myself into work to cope. The nonprofit project expanded. I was creating their entire branding suite. Logos, social media graphics. Even a simple app mock-up. It paid well enough to start building my own savings. Freelancing from home meant I could be there for the kids. But it also gave me too much time to think. I'd stare at my screen, designs blurring as I replayed his confession. He enrolled in a Gamblers Anonymous program, attending meetings twice a week at a community center. He'd come back subdued, sharing bits. It's helping. But the damage was done. His company launched an internal investigation after my anonymous tip. He was suspended with pay pending review. Suddenly, our income halved. Bills piled up, mortgage, utilities, kids' activities. I dipped into my freelance earnings, but resentment grew. Why should I fix his mess? We tried couples therapy. The therapist was a kind woman in her 50s, office smelling like lavender. We'd sit on opposite ends of the couch, me recounting the lies, him apologizing. I was ashamed, he'd say. Didn't want to burden you. But sessions turned tense. He'd deflect blame to work stress. I'd call him out on the choices. After a few, it felt pointless. Trust wasn't rebuilding, it was eroding further. Then came the unexpected turn. While cleaning out the garage, his domain, full of tools and boxes. Curiosity won. I pried it open with a screwdriver. Don't judge. Inside, documents, photos, letters. At first, junk, old tax returns, his college diploma. But deeper, a birth certificate not his. Adoption papers. What? It was for a child, a boy born 15 years ago. My husband's name listed as father. My world tilted. We met 14 years ago. This kid was conceived before us. Letters from a woman demanding support, then silence. Photos of a toddler resembling our son. He'd had a secret child all this time? I confronted him that night. Papers in hand. He collapsed, sobbing. It was a one-night thing in college before you. She didn't want me involved. But I sent money quietly. Why hide it? Shame. Didn't want to complicate our life. But the gambling debts. Part tied to backchild, support he'd fallen behind on when betting losses hit. This changed everything. Not just lies about money, but a whole hidden life. The kid was now a teen, living in another state with his mom. My husband had been sending sporadic payments, but the gambling drained funds, leading to threats from her lawyer. That's why the desperate work theft. To catch up without telling me. I felt betrayed on a new level. Our marriage, built on omission. The kids, did they have a half-brother? I spiraled, calling my lawyer to update. This could affect alimony custody, she said. In us family court, undisclosed children impact finances. I demanded he contact the other mom, get paternity confirmed. He did, via email. Turns out she'd remarried, the kid was fine. But yes? Owed support. My husband arranged payments, but it depleted our assets further. I insisted on DNA tests for transparency. Meanwhile, his job fired him after the investigation confirmed embezzlement. Small amounts, but enough for charges. Prosecutors offered a plea. Probation, restitution. Home life imploded. Arguments escalated. Once he yelled about my snooping. I shot back about his secrets. The kids overheard, our daughter crying. We agreed to separate temporarily. He moved to a cheap apartment nearby. I filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. No fault, to avoid ugliness. But the plot thickened. During discovery, his lawyer revealed more. The gambling wasn't just personal. He'd been tipped off by a co-worker into a company insider scheme, betting on shipment delays for profit. It was corporate fraud, not just addiction. FedEx got involved. He cooperated for leniency. Suddenly, our divorce was tangled in legal mess. My lawyer fought to shield me. As spouse, I could be implicated if I knew. I didn't. Assets frozen, house in limbo. I took a second job, remote customer service, to cover costs. Kids shuttled between homes. Our son resented the split. Grades, slip. Therapy for them now, too. Amid this, a twist I never expected. The other child's mom reached out to me directly. Email. Sorry for the pain. He was never there for us either. We talked. She shared stories of his flakiness. It bonded us oddly. Two women screwed over. She offered advice on navigating support claims. As papers were served, I reflected on how one secret snowballed. What started as suspicion of cheating revealed layers of deception. Divorce proceedings loomed, but I felt a strange empowerment. Little did I know, the next phase would bring an even bigger surprise involving my own past. Continuing this saga, if you're still reading, thanks for sticking with me. After filing, the divorce process kicked into gear, that bureaucratic grind unique to the U.S. system. We had mediation sessions in a sterile conference room, lawyers flanking us like bodyguards. He'd sit there, looking defeated, agreeing to most terms. Joint custody, him paying child support, based on imputed income since he was jobless now. The house would sell, proceeds split after debts. Alimony for me until I was self-sufficient, given I'd paused my career for kids. But emotions ran high. He'd text apologies, I miss us. I'd ignore or respond curtly for co-parenting's sake. The kids adjusted slowly. Weekends with him meant fast food and movies. Weekdays with me were structure and homework. Our son opened up in therapy about feeling angry. Our daughter made divorce art. Abstract swirls representing feelings. Work kept me sane. The nonprofit loved my designs, leading to referrals. I built a portfolio site, networked on LinkedIn, landed gigs for small businesses. Income stabilized enough for rent if the house sold. I joined a support group for divorced moms, meeting weekly at a community center. Hearing other stories, financial ruin, custody battles, made mine feel less isolating. Then the curveball. During asset division, my lawyer uncovered discrepancies in my husband's disclosures. He'd hidden a stock account worth $50K, open pre-marriage but grown with joint funds. Fraud, she said. We pushed for full share. His side countered, claiming it was separate property. Court dates piled up. Judge ordered appraisal. Amid this personal twist, I started dating. Not seriously. Coffee with a guy from the support group, a widower with kids. It was nice, feeling desired again. But guilt hit. Was it too soon? Kids didn't know. One night after a date, I came home to find my husband waiting on the porch. We need to talk. He confessed he'd been in therapy solo, realizing his issues stemmed from childhood abandonment. His dad left young. The secret child? A repeat pattern, he regretted. I listened, but boundaries held. Too late, I said. He left, but it stirred old feelings. Maybe reconciliation? No. Trust gone. Bigger shock came via mail. A letter from a law firm. Turns out during his college fling there wasn't just one child, twins. The mom had hidden the second, a girl adopted out privately. Now adult, she was searching for bio parents. DNA sites matched. She contacted him, then me for family history. Mind blown. Another secret kid? He swore he didn't know. The mom confirmed one pregnancy, but records showed twins. She gave one up without telling him. Now this young woman wanted contact. We met via Zoom. She looked like our daughter. Same eyes. Emotional whirlwind. Kids excited about a half-sister. He overwhelmed. This complicated divorce. New support claims? Judge paused proceedings for paternity confirmation. I felt sideswiped. My family expanding amid dissolution. The twin shared her story. Happy adoption, but curious about roots. We bonded over calls. She visited, meeting siblings. Bittersweet. Meanwhile, his fraud case resolved. Community service. Fine. He got a new job, entry-level logistics. Paid restitution. Divorce resumed. We settled amicably. House sold, I bought a smaller place nearby. But the real unexpected. Through this, I discovered my own omission. In therapy, I admitted I'd had a brief emotional affair years ago, during a rough patch. Online chats with an old flame. Never physical, but secretive. I told him during mediation he was hurt. But it leveled the field. We're both flawed, he said. As papers finalized, I felt closure. No villains, just humans messing up. Kids thrived in 2 homes. I dated casually. The twin became family, visiting holidays. Word count, 812. Años. Wait, let's add more detail to hit 800A. I expanded on the mediation. Arguments over furniture, who gets the dog. We shared custody. Kids' reactions to the twin. Son wary. Daughter thrilled. My dating. Awkward first kiss post-divorce. Work success. Promoted to full-time remote role. Support group stories inspiring resilience. Final part, wrapping this up. Post-divorce, life settled into a new normal. I had the kids weekdays, him weekends. Co-parenting app for schedules, neutral drop-offs. House was cozy, 2 bedrooms, yard for the dog. I decorated with my art, made it ours. Work boomed. Financially stable, no alimony needed after a year. Kids adapted. Son's grades improved. Joined debate club. Daughter pursued art. Winning school awards. The twin integrated slowly. Calls, visits. She brought perspective. Families are what you make. Holidays alternated. One Thanksgiving altogether, awkward, but civil. Twist in aftermath. My ex met someone new. A woman from his GA group. They got serious. She helped him stay sober. I felt jealous at first, then relieved. He proposed. Kids attended wedding. My turn. The widower and I deepened. Blended families worked. Unexpected, we discovered shared connections. His late wife knew the twins' adoptive mom. Small world. Years on, reflecting. Divorce was an end. But pivot. No regrets, growth from pain. If you're in similar spot, hang in. Twists lead to better paths.